Hey guys, and welcome back to another Axel 72 video, and today I am back with another interview, and I'm here with Tom Aitchinson. Am I right? Have I pronounced that right?
Yeah, Aitchinson it is.
Yes, alright. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. Are you alright?
Yes, I am absolutely great, mate. I very much appreciate you doing this interview, lad.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate. Thank you.
So, if you're new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, you're 27, you're a super lightweight, and you're 7-0, correct?
That's right, mate. Yeah.
Great, and I will start off with the question which I always like to start off with, and that is who inspired you to get into boxing, mate?
Got to be my dad.
Mm-hmm.
My dad boxed when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
He only had a few amateur fights, but he opened up his gym where he was from. It's called the place called Lee. So he opened up Lee
Mm-hmm.
ABC. Him and my godfather, they opened that up together. So that was when I was like 8 years old. So obviously my dad's always loved boxing. He's took me down the gym, and he's got me into it. And that's been my life.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of answering my next question of why did you get into boxing through your dad?
Yeah, that's it. My dad took me down the gym. I like fighting when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved the sport from
Mm-hmm.
an early age, and that's what I've been doing since 10 years old now.
Yeah, so you had a relatively early in a way start.
Yeah, that's it. My dad
Mm-hmm.
knew what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
so he took me down to the gym, and yeah, I've just been at it ever since.
And so you then went on, like everybody else, to have an amateur career. Do you remember how your first amateur fight went?
Yeah, of course. It was in Speaking, Liverpool, and before that, I think it was like a month after my 11th birthday. I think you got to be 11 to fight, haven't you? So
Mm-hmm.
I've been training a while for it, and I just like couldn't wait to get in. And I had a lot of skills from being young because obviously my dad was my coach, and I've just gone in there and just obviously like got a good win. Got
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, I can remember it. Just like had a bit of a war with the kid and just got a
Right.
good win. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like most people's fights are. Well, the first amateur fight is quite a tough fight, as obviously you're not fully prepared for it, but you just go in and see what happens.
Yeah, no, it weren't the case with that really, because
Oh.
obviously my dad, yeah, had trained me before, and I was ready for it. I'd sparred
Mm-hmm.
good lads, so I was ready for it for a while. Like I just couldn't wait for my 11th birthday to go and have a fight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So it was good. Yeah.
So then you went on to have an amateur career. Do you remember how many amateur fights you actually had?
No, I can't remember exactly,
Mm-hmm.
because I lost a few of my medical cards.
Right.
Um, and like the less you think about it, the more you forget. Like I honestly couldn't tell you now. I think it was close to like 80,
All
80
right.
fights. I'd say. Yeah,
Not surprised you forget then. That's a lot of fights.
yeah. So around 80 fights, I'd say.
So obviously you went and had all them fights, and you then decided to turn pro. Why did you turn pro when you did?
So got to around 22 or 23, I think it was when I turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
What it was is I was just sort of falling out of love with the amateur game.
Mm-hmm.
I weren't taking it too serious anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at the lads around me going pro and
Mm-hmm.
doing well, going pro, and I was seeing the standard, and I was thinking I could like wipe the floor with most of these people who are going pro now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I just thought, you know what? And then I'd sparred a few pros as well, handled myself in the pros, and I thought, you know what? I think I want to put my mind to it now, and I want to see where I can go
Mm-hmm.
with this boxing.
And obviously, from the record alone, it's shown that you've done well, and you could wipe the floor with some of them fighters that you were talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm only just building myself up at the moment. The first few fights that you have, journeyman,
Mm.
just about finding your feet. So, although the wins on your record, um, they're not competitive fights. A lot of them, they're just sort of you finding your feet. You're getting used to the training, the nutrition, the smaller gloves, things like that. So, I think as I'm stepping up now, that's when you're sort of, the quality will show, and that's the proper fights I'm getting into now, where the 50-50 I could lose.
Mm.
There's a chance I could lose.
Yes. Well, you then obviously have had a very good pro career, but what would you say are the clear differences between amateurs and the pro fighting scene?
In terms of the fights or the training or both.
Either, yeah, both really.
So obviously with the amateurs, it's 3 rounds, isn't it? 3 3-minute
Mm-hmm.
rounds. Obviously it's a high level sort of empty the tank fight. You go in there and you just let as many punches go as possible. Do a lot of movement. So in that essence, you have got to be fit. But what I found with the amateurs is you don't have to be as fit.
Right.
You sort of well you it's hard to say really. You do keep yourself fit, but like with the professionals, it's a lot it's a lot more serious. There's a lot more on the line. So for me personally, I need to make sure that I'm in top shape. Obviously, in the amateurs, you can sort of take a fight on a week's notice, and you'd be ready for it. I remember I went out drinking one weekend. Been on the air for a couple of days. And then he rang me and said, "Do you want to box
Right.
next week?" And I said, "Yeah." And I've went and won. In the pros,
Oh
that's not
wow.
happening, is
No.
it? It's a lot dangerous. These people are it's the people's jobs.
Mm.
So the punches are a lot harder. The men who you fight, they're a lot tougher.
Mm.
I mean, I've hit people in the amateurs and sort of stop them or hurt them in sparring, but in the pros, a lot of them you can hit them all day and they'll just keep
Yeah.
coming and wear you down. So, I think one difference between the fights in the amateurs and the pros is, like I said, with the amateurs, you've got to go and you've got to empty the tank. You've got to let your shots go. Whereas in the pros, you've got to sit down. You've got to think, and it's you've got to use when to get a rest, when to box. You've got to use your skills a lot more. And obviously, like you say, it's a thinking man's sport. You've got to use your brain a lot more
Mm-hmm.
in the professionals.
Yeah, it's a smart intellectual answer, and I do respect that. As I've asked that for a few people, and not everybody's been able to give me such a in-depth answer, which I do really
Yeah.
like. So moving on though, you then went to have your first pro fight when you turned pro, of course. How tough was that first pro fight? You said that it was a journeyman, so maybe not quite as tough, but I just wonder.
Yeah. So I mean, when you first have your first professional fight as well, I mean, in the amateurs, not many people come and watch you a lot of the time, and I'll be traveling around the country fighting in like Birmingham and all these places. So not many people would make it.
Mm-hmm.
So for this fight, I'd sold like 200 tickets, or just over 200 tickets. So that was the pressure alone.
Mm.
So obviously, when I got all this support, because I didn't really expect it, because I'd never sold tickets before, so I
Right.
didn't know how many people would end up coming. So when all these people started getting tickets, it was like, whoa, this is serious now. So I got myself in top condition, top shape, and then when you get yourself in top shape, the nerves they're not there as such, because you've done
Yeah.
what you need to do. And then obviously my opponent, journeyman. So I just remember everyone said, go and enjoy your pro debut. There was a bit of nerves there, but I just remember walking out and just hearing a loud roar, like a really loud roar. And I just thought, what, like, wow. And then
Mm.
it just sort of gave me inspiration then. And then the first bell, I've walked out, the bell's gone, I've walked out, and I've just hit him with a 1-2 straight away. Just like an easy bam bam
Mm.
right on his head. And I thought, right, here we go. And then I've just put it on him then from the
Mm.
first bell. So it weren't a tough fight as such. It was just good. It was just good handling all the pressure
Mm.
and getting used to the smaller gloves.
Yes, and of course you then went on to have a very successful career, being undefeated so far, and you got, am I right in saying, your first stoppage in your last fight?
No, I got a stoppage in the one before that. The
Oh
first
right.
one, the one before that, and then obviously I've stopped him in the last one as well.
Right, my bad. Well, that's why
Yeah, no.
I was kind of wondering, what would you say is your best performance in whichever one of your fights?
So I'd say I boxed this fella from Ukraine twice,
Mm-hmm.
and the first fight it was straight after COVID, so I hadn't boxed in 2 years. And it was like my longest time out the ring, and he sort of flew him over last minute. I think I found out I was boxing him on the day before. So
Oh
I've gone
wow.
to the weigh-in and we didn't know who we was fighting, and this
Mm.
fella's turned up and he's been like 5 pounds heavier,
Oh.
and all his other fights have been at middleweight, and like he'd gone heavy. This Ukraine fella. So it was kind of one of them. It was like a bit of a stressful week because he didn't know if he was boxing, and then I've ended up boxing him, and it's been a tougher fight than I thought it would be, and he's gone for it, and I've not been at my best. Then a couple of months later on, my opponent's pulled out, and his opponent pulled out on the same show, and I've
Right.
ended up boxing him again,
Mhm.
and I put things right then. So
Mhm.
that was a good performance. And then I'd probably say my last fight was against that Gregores who's fought
Mhm.
like Hatton and Gomez
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
and Charlton as well. So he's had some good fights with them, and obviously I stopped him. So that was a good performance,
Mhm.
but I still think I'm yet to be tested properly.
Mhm. Well,
Mm.
I heard about the whole Ukrainian thing. I didn't know about the whole backstory with the guy. It's very kind of lucky in a way that them fights did both happen like they did.
Yeah. I mean, I got a good 12 rounds out of him in
Mm.
total. I got the first 6 on the first fight, and then another 6 on the second one. So it was like good, valuable rounds because he had a very awkward style.
Mhm.
He's a bit bigger than me as well,
Mhm.
and yeah, he come to win. He come to really win. So it was good.
Yeah, that's what you see with a lot of these journeymen in a way. They just come to just kind of swing and hope for the best, but they are resilient as well, and they
Yeah,
come with different ideas a lot of people haven't seen.
yeah, exactly. Like you get the conventional styles when you're sparring. You know, people throw the jabs, the 1-2s, left
Mhm.
hooks. A lot of it's jab work, slipping. But with these, some of these like that Ukraine and some of them, they're very unorthodox. They'll fly in with right hands. They'll
Mhm.
dip and they'll throw a left hook. You know, they'll stand square on. So a lot of it is just
Mhm.
um, adjusting to their styles.
Yes.
But it's good, valuable experience because
Mhm.
in professional boxing, you know, you can do well by being awkward and having an unpredictable style.
Mhm.
You know, if you can whack and you can bang, if you've got an unpredictable style and then you can take someone out, you're a hard man to beat.
Yeah, definitely. So that's possibly what you might be going into your next fight with, that kind of mindset. I was kind of trying to get a transition to your next fight, which is September 10th, if I'm right in saying.
No, that's changed now.
Oh, right,
What
okay.
happened is I was meant to be on that show
Mhm.
in Blackpool,
Mhm.
and then when I've done my medical, there's been a problem with my brain scan.
Oh.
It's because every year you have to do MRI scans
Mhm.
on your brain, and there'd been a change from the year before, so I had to go to London and do an assessment on my memory and check my brain was working.
Oh, right.
So that's pushed that fight back now. So I'm headlining on the 24th of September in
Oh,
the
wow.
Olympia,
Mhm.
over 8 rounds now.
Mhm.
Mm.
So you've kind of ended up getting a tougher challenge than what you expected.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know what the plan was with the September the 10th one in Blackpool, how many rounds that would be, but now it's sort of like picked up to 8 on
And
this next battle.
and what is that something that you're happy with? Like you prefer that?
Yeah, you've got it. You've got. I'm 27 now. I've got to start picking the rounds up. I've done 6 rounds before, so
Mhm.
you know it's time to step it up to 8 rounds and see what that's saying.
Mhm. Great. So are you doing anything different ahead of this fight in the way of preparing for it?
Yeah, so this camp, I've got a strength and conditioning coach. One of
Mhm.
my sponsors, Lee Alberton,
Mhm.
he's helped me out a lot. He's linked me up with this fella called Martin Cullen, who's worked with
Right.
like Crawler. He was with Crawler, Martin Murray. He's been with like some really good fighters. So he's very knowledgeable. This fella.
Mhm.
So I've been working with him for the past 5 6 weeks now. But besides that, obviously it's just hard work in the gym, more around sparring, and then that's it really.
Mhm. So obviously a lot of people have got them strength and conditioning coaches. What would you say to somebody who possibly hasn't got one then and was thinking about getting a strength and conditioning coach on why they should?
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend getting one. I'd say first of all, have a look at who's going to be doing it because um, with boxing, it's a different sport to a lot of things. You've got to have it all. You've got to have like cardiovascular fitness. You've got to be explosive. You've got to have the stamina. You've got to have the quick reactions. So there's a lot more to it than just the basic building up your strength. So I'd try and preferably get someone who's experienced with a boxer, because obviously you've got to make weight as well. You can't just have someone coming in putting a load of muscle on you,
No,
because
yeah.
you're going to be too heavy then. So I'd get someone who's got experience. Go and speak to them. You know, make sure that you can speak to the coach as well, because your strength and condition, it isn't your main priority in boxing. Boxing is about your technique, your bag, your sparring. That should be your top focus. So if you've got a strength and conditioning coach who's taking out of you, and then you're not performing in the gym, then that's going to have a negative effect on you. So I'd just say try and get someone with experience. Have a little look around. Speak to these people. Find out who will work for you, and he isn't just using you to boost his platform, because that's what you get a lot of. Obviously, if you start making a bit of a name for yourself, or you still get a bit of record, they say, "I'll work with me," and then they put you all over the thing, but in essence, they've not really got a clue. They just do a few kettlebells with you or something. So just shop around, just that'd be my advice to them.
Yeah, so it's very good advice. And so, are you possibly trying to? You said you got this fight at the end of September. Are you possibly trying to fight again before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. That was the plan. Obviously, with the 10th of September, that's quite early, then I fight again. So, I'm not sure. I've not got no dates planned, but hopefully get one probably November. I'd say, yeah, we've got that end of September. Then just get back in the gym, maybe like a week off, and then November's like a good time.
I respect the motivation to just only be able to have a week off before you get straight back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I like more time off, but when you're climbing the ranks like I am, you've got to just stay on it. I'm not like in these big fights where they have like 8-week camps, and then you got to bring the revenue in. Something could pop up at any date, really, couldn't it? And I've got no promoter, nothing. I'm just sort of doing it by myself. So I just need to stay ready.
So obviously you've got this fight coming up. For a question that you always like to ask, you've gonna get your fans wanting to come along, and I was just kind of wondering why they should come along. What will make you different for every other fighter that they could see?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a good fan base, all my mates, and a lot of them come. They all go on day sessions. They all go on benders. Sorry about that. They all go out, and then so they all have a good laugh. There's loads of them come from all over, and then obviously I'm coming to knock this kid out again. I've got 2 knockouts this year, so I'm coming for another knockout. 8 rounds, my first 8-rounder. Hopefully, get a good test, and yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna knock this other fella out again, and keep this 100% record up this year of knockouts.
Great.
Because that's what the people want to see, yeah.
Definitely, yes, indeed. So, obviously, you're just at the start of your career. I've only got a couple of questions left, by the way, now. Yeah, and so, obviously, you're at the start of your career, and I was just kind of wondering, how far do you think you can go in the sport?
Yeah, just sky's the limit, really. I feel like I'll beat any of these kids that they put in front of me. Obviously, got to just at the right times, get the right fights at the right times. Which obviously, my manager, my trainer, they'll get me the right fights at the right times. I'll just keep putting the work in the gym, and then whoever they put in front of me, I'll deal with them. So the sky's the limit, really.
It is indeed. All right, then I'll leave it with this final question, which I always like to ask. And you've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
No, just say thanks to all my sponsors for all the help they give me. Thanks to all the people who come and watch me. Boxing's a tough, lonely sport, and it's hard. It is very, very hard. All the sacrifices that you've got to make. You miss out on a lot of things, and people might think that you're being rude, or you don't want to spend time with them anymore, but that's not the case. I'm just tired constantly. I can never be asked doing anything. I can't be asked speaking to no one, because I've just trained that hard. But then they still come and support me, so I can't thank all them enough. And obviously the sponsors, they're helping me out of the goodwill of the heart, because obviously at the moment I'm still building my career up, so the exposure that they're getting is not as big as some of the other fighters. So again, thank you to them, and thank you to me girlfriend as well. I think she'll want to shout out, because she does all my cooking, cleaning, and looks after me as well. So just want to say thanks to her as well.
All right, great. Well, you seem like a very determined yet humble guy at the same time, which I do love to see in a person.
Yeah, thanks, mate, and thank you for having me on as well.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on. Very much appreciate it. And possibly in a few years, when you are fighting for these belts, we can come back and do a return interview.
Yes, definitely, mate. I love that.
All right, great. Well, thanks for watching. Like the video if you didn't like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.